Finally, we're gonna talk about protecting your wires from abrasions and cuts. I know I've talked about this in the past, but this is super crucial because you don't want to build a problem. So you have all of this wire and everything routed, connected to a big battery system. What we don't want is for that wire to be sitting on a piece of metal, vibrating down a dirt road for miles and miles and miles, and eventually it gets sawed through to the point where it could arc, ground out, or otherwise pose a potential fire hazard, or just create whatever, whatever device to no longer work. Like that would just suck to have to take apart walls, remove cabinets, remove your bed to find one little nick that you've got to wrap up. So protect all of your wiring. I like this little saying, if you feel like you've used too many zip ties, you've probably used enough zip ties. They're crazy cheap. You can get a big thing, just get like 1,000 of them to start your whole project. Maybe you'll use them all, maybe you won't, but zip ties are awesome to just have around the house. Lots and lots of zip ties. So we'll go through and we'll zip some stuff up and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. You're gonna need to drill some holes through some metal in the side of your van. We drill holes over here to get reading lights through. We drill holes right here to get all of our wires to pass through. So that way when your walls are up, they're nice and they're flush and they're clean and all your wire is safely tucked away and out of the way of the walls, out of the way of screws, stuff like that. Be conscious of the screw lengths that you're gonna be using and where your wire is run as well. So say right here, you don't want to put a big, huge screw and bury a screw into all of these wires because then you're going to ground out some stuff and things aren't going to work right. You can cause a potential fire hazard. Make sure you're paying attention to those kind of things and protect every bit of wiring that you do. So one way that we protect all of our wiring is through snap bushings. These things are cheap. You can get them at electrical supply stores, but basically what it is it's just a little piece of plastic. You'll drill a hole, a specific sized hole, in your van, and then you push the thing in and it'll snap right in and it has little feet in there that will actively keep the thing stationary. Then you pass your wires through this guy. So you're never gonna cut through a wire if you have a snap bushing. So these are important things. If you don't want to get these, you can use felt tape. You can use foss, like this soft kind of cloth to wrap around and glue into place, but just those raw, sharp metal edges, you want to get those protected. Maybe you're passing wires through here and you want to, felt tape is great because if you just have a sharp edge, tape that edge with some felt tape where your wire is going to be sitting and, protect it. Another thing is, if you have a piece of loose wire, these Christmas tree zip ties, these things are just awesome. We'll have a link for what these things are, where you can find them. But there are holes, all these stock holes throughout the van that you can just plug these things right into and then zip tie your wire directly to. So you can drill holes in pieces of metal with just a little 1/4-inch drill bit, push these things right in, and then zip your wires to it. So if you have this big floppy stretch of wire, zip tie it down and really secure the wire. If you have a lot of movement, find somewhere to secure that wire. I've seen wires cut through some pretty wild stuff, like thick metal. So it's impressive, and you never think it's gonna happen until it actually does. So just keep that stuff in mind. You're gonna find yourself on a lot of dirt roads when you have your camper van. If you're out camping around or you're just traveling bumpy roads, wires will saw through some things. So secure them. If your wire's moving around a lot, arrest that movement. And you're not gonna have any problems if you make sure everything is secured. So we have our Christmas tree zip ties, holding this stuff to the wall, and then we have all the little zip ties keeping everything bundled up. And you can use a pair of, these are called flush cuts. I really like these. Zip ties can be really sharp if they aren't cut flush, but you can always use just any kind of pair of wire clippers or anything like that. But snip all these guys off. And it just looks nice and neat and clean. So anywhere that I see bundled wires like this, I'm just gonna go ahead and zip tie this stuff off. Make sure it stays nice and neat and clean. So you can see here, we needed to pass a wire for the reading light through an area that didn't have a hole. So we use, these step bits are great. Like find these, you can get these things at Harbor Freight, you can get them at Home Depot, you can get these things wherever. They have a bunch of measurements on the side. So you're gonna wanna figure out how big the step bit hole needs to be, and they'll tell you. And one way to make these things easier to use is to get a Sharpie. Say I need a 3/4 inch bit. I am going to, on the 13/16, trace a line, or you can use a piece of tape. So that way you know, don't go past the tape. So you'll drill your hole and it won't grab, it won't pull through and cause dents on the outside of your van. But step bits are huge. They're very, very nice for putting holes in metal. So just be careful. They do spit some slag. Little hot pieces of metal will come down and burn your arms. So long sleeve shirt, or just keep out of the way. Make sure you have safety glasses, because it does create a lot of metal shavings. But once you cut that hole, you just push your snap bushing right through, and then you pass your wire through. And now this thing can't be cut. It's nice and protected and safe, and it's gonna last as long as the van is running. So why I love these things is there are holes already in the van. And you just take these guys, you snap them right in. It's better than a sticker. Then you can zip tie whatever piece of wire you need in. So we have these guys over here, all of our ceiling lights, they are all connected by these little Christmas tree zip ties. Now, if you don't have a hole, you simply drill a 1/4 inch hole in the side of your van, push the thing in there, and now all your wires are secured and they're tight. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, we still need to put a few more zip ties on there, but I'll zip all this stuff up, and it's just tight, clean, and have to worry about flopping wires and wires getting cut. So even stuff like this, like I'll go ahead and zip tie that stuff up so it's just a single strand. And then up here, we have a little bit of foss or felt tape, and we glue it right to this metal because we know there's gonna be some wire harness stuff, there's some of our cables running through, and we want to protect those edges. Same thing right here, just a little bit of clip. You can use a little bit of foss or a little bit of felt tape. You can use some spray adhesive to get that stuff on there. But the little extra bit goes a long way. Make sure you protect all your wires. I can't stress this enough.